Hello everyone. In this video, let us discuss about flowchart basics. Before started writing any coding, we need to understand the logic about that program, right? So to know about that logic, we need to represent it in either in a pseudocode form or in a flowchart form, right? So let us discuss what is mean by an flowchart. It is a diagrammatic representation, or we can define it as a pictorial representation of a process, which describes the sequence or the flow of control of the program and the information within the process. So if we see the flowchart of a particular program, then easily we can understand the logic behind that. So before started writing a coding part, we used to draw for a flowchart, right? And we can define it as a step-by-step approach to solve a task. And in the flowchart, we will be having different shapes of boxes with connected arrows. So those symbols are represented or used to represent the steps which is involved in that, right? So let us discuss what are the symbols available in the flowchart. So we have many different symbols, but most frequently the basic symbols which we used to use in our flowchart is start or end, input or output, action or process, decision or condition, arrow and connector symbols. So these are the symbols we will be using to draw a flowchart. And in this lecture or in the next lectures, whatever flowcharts I am going to draw, I will be drawing using Y8 tool, right? So the Y8 tool is used to draw all the flowcharts. Okay, so first let us discuss the flowchart symbols one by one. So the first symbol is start or end symbol. So whenever we are going to start any particular task, to represent it, we will be using a one symbol for start and to represent its termination with the help of the end symbol, right? So the starting and ending of a task are represented using the oval or rounded rectangle boxes. Here I have denoted this. So an oval or rounded rectangle box will be used to represent the start and end of a task. The second symbol is input or output symbol. So after the start of a particular flowchart, next we need to get the input from the users, right? In the same way, after executing the task, we need to display the output to the user, right? So to get the input and to showcase the output of a particular task, we will be using the parallelogram box. So it is represented here, right? So this type of symbol will be used to get the input or to show the output. The third symbol is action or process. So after getting the input from the user, whatever task we need to perform now, those actions or the logics and some calculations which is involved in the particular task will be represented using this particular symbol. So here, to represent the action or process, we will be using the rectangle box. So how many number of calculations, how many logics are involved in a particular program, everything will be represented using the rectangle box. So the next symbol what we have in the flowchart is decision or condition. So this is more important. Why? Because whenever we are going for any looping statements, we used to go for this particular symbol. So the conditions or the decision making steps involved in a particular program will be represented using this symbol. So the result of this step will be either true or false. Why? Because here we need to finalize some decision, right? So the output of this particular step will be either true or false, or in other words, we used to represent it as yes or no. So here we will be using diamond symbol to represent the decision or condition. So this particular step will be used for all the loop statements, like if loop, while loop, for all the looping statements we will be going for this decision symbol. The next symbol what we have is arrow. So we have discussed the start or stop symbol, input or output, process and decision making, right? So once all those steps are involved, we need to represent the flow of control or the flow of process. That should be represented with the help of arrow. So it is denoted by a directed line. So it will connect two nodes, or in other words it will connect two symbols, and it will represent after the particular step where we need to move for the next step. So those things can be obtained with the help of arrow. And the next symbol is connector symbol. So the connector symbol will be used for larger flowcharts. So whenever we used to draw a particular flowchart, if it exceeds after one page, so that we will be using this particular connector symbol, so that in the next page we can start the flowchart continuation by representing the connector. And in the connector symbol will be represented using circle shape. And inside this circle we used to give some alphabets for our identification. For example, we may give A or X, anything we can give inside this connector, so that wherever we are finishing the connector in one page, whatever alphabet we are giving, so that in the next page we used to start with the same connector, like alphabet A represented inside that. So the meaning is this particular flowchart is the continuation from the previous page. So like that, the continuation of the flow of steps will be represented with the help of the connector, and it is represented or it is denoted using circle shape. So we have discussed all the basic symbols of the flowchart, right? So we have discussed the definition and their symbols. Now we need to discuss what are the design rules available for flowchart. Even the flowchart has certain design rules. So the first thing we need to remember is all the flowcharts must begin with a start symbol, and obviously it has to end with the stop symbol. Then only we can identify that the particular flowchart has completed its termination. So this is the first and foremost rule. And the second rule is the process flow or the sequence, how we are going to draw the flowchart. It must be either from top to bottom or from left to right. So in any manner we can draw the flowchart. But most frequently everyone used to draw the flowchart from top down. So which means top to bottom. So this is the second rule of the flowchart. And the third thing is whatever instructions we are representing inside the symbols must be crisp and concise. It should be easy to understand, and we cannot write more words inside a particular symbol. So just if we are getting the input from the user, just their variables we need to use. So in the same way, inside all the symbols, whatever instructions we are writing, it should be crisp and concise. And the next rule is we must avoid using the connectors. So as we discussed in the previous slide, we have discussed about the connector symbol, right? So the connector symbol is used to represent the continuation of the flowchart. So whenever a flowchart is very bigger, it may go for pages and pages. So at that time, to avoid confusion, to make the connectivity, we will be using the connectors. Maximum we should try to avoid connectors. We should not make our flowchart to be more complicated. Even though it is a big concept, we need to draw the flowchart by splitting it as a functions, as we all know about the function concept, right? So maximum we should try to avoid using the connectors for the flowchart. It should be very simple. And the next rule is only one input or output arrow should be used for the process or action symbol. As we discussed, the action or process symbol will contain the action or the logics or the calculations involved inside that, right? So all the process symbols must have only one input entering into that, and from the symbol only one output should go out from the action symbol. So this is another rule which we need to remember. Why? Because our another symbol we have called a decision or condition, right? So for decision or condition, we won't have only one output, right? So obviously based on the decision, we may go for either true or false side, right? And sometimes we may have the loop back concept also, right? So because of that, the decision will have two outputs, whereas the process and action symbol should have one input entering into that and one output arrow going out from that. And the last design rule what we have is the arrows must never intersect, right? So sometimes we may have a flowchart where we may have the loop back, and from one symbol the flow may go for another symbol. So from decision we may have two outputs, so two different lines, two different arrows will be forwarded to two different symbols, where we may have some intersects also, right? So we must avoid this intersection while using the arrows. So this is another design rule. So in a crisp manner, all the flowchart should have start and stop symbol, and it should be drawn either from top down or from left to right, and the instructions must be crisp. The connectors must be avoided to the maximum extent. And about the action or process symbol, only one input arrow, one output arrow related with the process symbol, and the arrows must never intersect, right? So these are the design rules of the flowchart. Next, let us discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages we have with the flowchart. So very few I have given here. So the major advantages and the major drawbacks I have given here. So the advantages are, it will be very easy to understand the flow of control, right? From where the control moves from one location to another location. So the sequence of the program will be very easier to understand. That is the first advantage. And the second advantage is, because of this diagrammatic representation, the semantic errors will be avoided, and it will be easy to develop the program code first if we finish this pictorial representation. So these are the major advantages of using the flowchart. And the drawbacks of using this flowcharts are, for large program it is very difficult to make the flowcharts. Why? Because the large programs may be having more number of looping statements. So from the control will transfer from one line to another line. So we may have more intersection of arrows, and sometimes we may miss the concept that after this step where the control will be transferred. So those type of confusions will be created. So it will be very difficult to draw the flowchart for large programs, and modification of the flowchart is also very difficult. If it is a coding part, directly we can do any modification and we will try to find out, right? Whereas we don't have any such option in the case of flowcharts. So if we do a small change in program, if we want to do any small logical change, here we need to think more, right? So it is very difficult to modify the flowchart. Also, it is a little tedious and time consuming process. Because if it is a coding part, we can compile it, we can execute the program, we can identify where we are stuck, right? So whereas here we don't have any such option. So it is for our reference we are going for this flowchart, right? So it is a little tedious and a time consuming process. So these are the major disadvantages of flowcharts, right? So I hope you have understood this flowchart. Thank you.